Hi everyone, my name is Piterpakulski. Today we will continue building financial model of a rent calculator for your business idea. We are creating a business model, financial model for your business idea, and the essence of this model is to evaluate how this or that location, the rent payments for this location affect your simple discounted payback period, internal rate of return, profitability, revenues, so the amount of money you need to start the business. So at the beginning of this financial model, we have all inputs are colored with blue, all other cells are automized. So first of all, we specify how many square feet or square meters we have in this location, what is the price per square foot or square meter, then what is the amount of deposit for this location, if there is any grace period for rent payments, we can specify this value here. Then we set up year and month when we get the first revenues. Then we set up the duration of the investment stage before we get the first revenue, before operating activity. We also have, then we can specify the investment stage expenses. Then we specify different types of customers. We can switch them on and off. We can specify average check for each type of customer, the level of direct expenses in this average check. We also have coefficients to play with every check without adjustment of the values itself. We also can specify the duration of the life cycle of this or that type of customer, because the customer won't stay with us forever. One day they will quit the project and stop generating revenues for us. So that's why we introduced this parameter here. Then we specify how many new customers join our project from the beginning of operating activity during the first 36 months of operating activity. Then we extrapolate these values because we have 10-year horizon for our financial model. Then we describe the customer behavior from perspective how many checks are made by each type of customer. So for example, customer number 1 purchases twice a month during 4 months life cycle for this type of customer, and customer type number 5 purchases 7 times per month during his 38 months of life cycle. So we also can specify different other types, inside this period we can specify, so here is the values are stable, but we can, for example, start with 2 purchases a month, then increase, then decrease, and then go to minimum purchases. So we can just create different portraits of customers. So then we specify, let's go down. Then we specify marketing and advertising expenses that are not linked to the amount of new customers from the first month of operating activity. Then we move to different sources from which new customers come. So for example, we have 5 types of 5 sources of customers, and here are the months of operating activity starting from the first month of operating activity to here is timeline, and here we can allocate 100% of new customers between the sources they come from. So here is the percentage of allocation, and we can change this allocation inside the timeline, because For example, during the first 12 months you can use one allocation, then allocation can change and so on. So this is and then also inside the timeline you can specify the cost of acquisition of one customer from each of these sources, and you can change the cost of acquisition of one customer inside the timeline. Then specify then we talk about direct payroll. Here are the positions for direct payroll. So here we specify different positions. Here is the salary, monthly salary for one person on each position. Then we specify the amount of customers per one person on this position. Then we will be able to calculate the amount of people needed on this position to calculate the direct payroll. Then we specify stable payroll, which doesn't grow or decrease if the amount of customers grow or decrease. So this is a stable story. Then we specify direct expenses per one customer if we do have any. So this is an additional block. Then we specify fixed expenses that are quite stable inside a typical year but still may have some seasonality. And today I would like to move back to the revenues. So we've already calculated the revenues here. So they start from the moment when we specify then the start of operating activity from July 2022. So at this moment parameters that affect these revenues don't take into consideration the way these customers, different customer types, will pay us. So we know it takes into consideration the amount of customers, the average check, how this or that type of customer stays with us. But for example, or it also takes into consideration how often this or that customer purchases our product or our services. But for example, very important thing to calculate the amount of financing which we need to start the business is to add a new parameter describing how this or that type of customer pays us. For example, we sold the product today, but the customer will pay us next month. So, or he will pay us 50% today and 50% next month, or he will pay us 0 today and 100% on the next month, or 100% on the month after next month. And this will affect the profit. This will show you potential operating losses. Operating losses during the first month of operating activity will show you an additional amount of financing that you need to start the business. And this parameter that I will be talking today is very important for a business to survive during the first several months from the start. So today we'll be adding parameter how different types of customer are gonna pay us. So for that purpose, I will create a new block of inputs. Customers and types of payments. And types of payments. So here I will place customer type, So I will go up where our customers types. Here they are. So we have 5 types of customers, and for example, inside each type of customer we have 5 types of payments. Payment type 1, payment type 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we have 5 types of customers. Then customer number 2, so this is Control X, 3, 4, 5. So inside each type of customer we have 5 types of payments, and revenue allocation in percentage. So here we put revenue allocation, then payment type, then customer type. So we are going to create a detailed story for our revenues, because this is very important. This will help you to see more clearly how much money you need really to start the business. So for example, so these cells will be in percentage format. They will be the input, so we mark them with color. So for example, 20% of revenues from customer type 1 will be payment type 1, 30% will be for the type number 2, then 10%, and then 12, for example, and 28% will give us a total. Then allocation percentage allocation control, so we create here a total, so this is also a percentage format, format cells, alignment, center, then we color it with red, and we will create a conditional formatting. So new rule, So formula this equals to 1, then the format will be filling, so this will be the green, and font will be black. Okay, so for example 19, 21, 20. Okay, so first of all we will need to allocate the revenues from the customer type number 2 between different types of payments. So this is our first part of exercise. Then we describe how these what is this type of payment. So here we put the months of operating activity, the month of starting from the current month, from the month when this revenue occurs. So for example we will have a 3 months interval from the moment when we sell when we sell our product or a service. So here are 3 months, and what we are doing here. So for example, for this type of customer, for this type of payment of customer number 2, we get, let me do it just like this, so we get 100% of revenue in this month. So this means that we sold our product today or service and got the money right in this month when we sold the product. Another story is for example we sold but we got the money next month. This algorithm, so the next story, when we sold the product but we got the revenues, we get the revenues not today, not next month, but at the month after the next month. The next, for example, algorithm is, for example, we get 10% today, 50, or for example 0 here and 90% here, or we can get 50% now, 40% the next month, and 10% the month after the next month. So here we describe the way we get the revenues. So this is very important, because when we don't get, so we sell today but get the money next month or the month after, so we may face operating losses, and these losses we will need to finance these losses, and this will cause additional financing that you will need to start the business. So that's why then controls, totals control, total control, so we will create totals from this. The total will be red, and we will be using conditional formatting. We will use formula if this value equals to 1, then fill will be green and font will be black. So if we allocate more than 100% or less, it will give us a mistake. So now we can copy these inputs. Let me check. Okay, I guess it works. Now I'll copy this story for the next 4 types of customers. So first of all, we allocate the revenues, then we describe how they pay us, and then we will consolidate the data. So now let's create the timeline. So revenues calculation step 1. Of course you can do it with a lower level of detail, but when you finish with your model, you have to create a credible revenue generating algorithm to build confidence, first of all, for yourself that you do have enough money to start the business and you won't go bankruptcy. So this is the first step that we will be taking. So I'm going back to revenues. So we already calculated the revenues. Here they are, revenue consolidation. I'm taking this line, so here is the revenue, and I'm going to allocate this amount between different types of payments. So I'm taking this line and multiply it on the percentage of allocation. So I will be taking this column, freezing it. And what we will do now, so we are moving to the next customer, exchanging 0 to 1 because it is the new here it is the new type of customer, number 2. Extrapolating the formula to the customer number 3. Four. So if we go here, so we have the last line here, and we will have the new customers inside timeline and the last revenue from different types of customer. Here it is. Now I will extrapolate this story to the right. So As you remember, we had $400 coming from the customers that go to inside the customer type 1 revenues, $400, and here they are located between different types of payments. So now we have to add, just a moment, now we have to add these types of payments so I will create the next table. Let me just copy this. So this will be 1, step 2, so what we will do, we will take this revenue and multiply it on this column. So this will be the part of revenue that come to us right on this month when we sell our product or service.
So we can see here zeros because these
second and third pay us nothing when we sell him our product or services right on the first month. So today they will pay us nothing, they will pay us afterwards. So then we are copying this table for the second type of payment. So we are taking this column and multiply it on this column. Second, and third. So now we have the values, but we need to put these values, we have to displace these values of these revenues inside the timeline. That's why we are moving to the next to the step 3. So we are copying this table. Oh, made mistake here. Revenues calculation. Sorry guys if you see some mistakes, because I'm doing it for you from scratch. Step 1, step 2, and then regulated step 3. So first a table, this one, we will take as it is, because here there is no displacement. We sell today and we get the revenues today.
This is 1, this is 2. So for this table I will put here 0,
then I will put here equals, and here I'm going to the table number 2, putting January value here. So I'm taking January value and putting it into February. So January value travels to February, and then I'm extrapolating this story to the right. Then I'm moving to the third table. So I'm putting here 0 here, and on March I will put values from January. So now with the ends, now it's time to consolidate the numbers. So step 4. I will call it simply parameter. Step 4. I will create the totals for 1 plus 2 plus 3. Then I will extrapolate this to the right, and okay,
So these are our revenues with its displaced
numbers, and now we have to consolidate this data by types of customers. Revenues calculation step 5. So I will put types of customers from left to right. And now we are going to consolidate to create totals for that. So this is the totals for customer type number 1, customer type number 2, customer type number 3, number 4, and finally customer type number 5. So now we can extrapolate this story to the right. Then we can color it with green because these are the revenues, and we can compare. For example, if I hide all these calculations, the difference between what we had before, let's hide, so for example, if the first type of customer pays us, let's look here, pays us nothing here, we will be able to see 0 here. So if we displace values, these percentages over here, but we see how revenues from customer type number 1 disappeared from July 2022. This means that we will get lower revenues, and we might have operating losses that we will have to finance ourselves from the pocket or from the bank loan and so on. And playing with how different customers pay us shows us the real amount of financing that we need to start the business. So many entrepreneurs learn a lot from this block of input when they start playing with this algorithm, how this or that customer pays you. So many entrepreneurs face sufficient lack of money playing with these numbers that they have in pocket, comparing with the amount of money they will really need to start this business. So very often this overturns the brain of the business starter, because this sufficiently affects the revenues in timeline, playing with these numbers affects and produces operating losses during the first, second, third month of operating activity. And very often business starters, they try to adjust their business concept, so they are getting it acquainted finally with their business idea. That's why this block of inputs is very important, because not only how long does this or that customer stays with you affects the revenues, but also how this person pays you today, next month, the month after the next month, and so on. So after playing with all these numbers, you will get you will know your project much better than, believe me, that you think you know it today. So that's why I decided to show you this video, this tutorial, to share with you just my experience. Maybe this video was useful for you. You may give us a like, subscribe, share this video with your friends. You can also order financial models from scratch for your unique business ideas. We can help you with that. So see you guys in next videos. Thank you and bye.